And away they go. Now, Berger trying to come through, but Patrese is taking the lead, is he? No, Senna's holding it, and Berger is trying to sprint through on the inside of the automatic gearbox Ferrari, and Patrese goes through, Berger spins, and has lost part of the car. Senna is being passed, Senna is down to fourth, down to fifth, it's Patrese leading, up into third position has come Boutsen. So the Williams are well away, but they have problems with overheating, but Patrese is fairly scorching away, fantastic opening lap. And let's look at the start again. Watch Berger and Senna.
Now you see Berger comes alongside and Senna starts to move over on him, and that is out of order, and he got himself squeezed.
At the end of lap one, it is in the lead, Riccardo Patrese in his 177th Grand Prix. Thierry Boutsen is in second place. Nigel Mansell then, from sixth position on the grid, has come up into a storming third position. And he'll be really going for it. He's had an engine change, and into the pits comes Senna. Now you can see he's got a new nose and wing going on.
So, back to Senna, still in the pits.
Fuming with frustration at what's happening to him and crying with misery because his Brazilian Grand Prix is well and truly finished now. He can come through, he can make the fastest lap, and Mansell is second. Nigel Mansell has gone up to second place ahead of Thierry Boutsen, and he's gaining on Riccardo Patrese hand over fist. Now, there is Boutsen's car, and Boutsen's in trouble. That's Thierry Boutsen going out of the race.
His mirror is certainly damaged.
So, Williams leads, Ferrari second, McLaren third, in fourth place is still the March of Capelli. In fifth position, it's still Derek Warwick's arrows, the new Ross Brawn designed arrows. In sixth place, it is Nannini. Now, at the end of that 15th lap, with Prost having gone into the pits.
Mansell's taken the lead, and Nigel Mansell went round the outside of Riccardo Patrese at the end of the straight. Patrese went for the inside as they went up the straight, and Mansell, little puff off the verge as he put a wheel onto the verge, but he kept it all together and outbraked round the outside, and he'll be very relieved to have got past Patrese.
Mansell is coming into the pits now. Mansell is going to lose the lead. Patrese is going to go back into the lead. Nigel Mansell, and that's not a very good stop by today's standards. 10 seconds. Nigel Mansell takes on a set of new Goodyears in just over 10 seconds on lap 21, 1/3 distance. And I would imagine that he will now be able to go the rest of the race on the set of tyres that he's just taken. So there is Riccardo Patrese with Alain Prost catching him.
And remember, of course, that Prost is on fresher rubber because he has stopped, Patrese hasn't yet. And that must really, as Prost powers past at the end of the straight, he was in perfect position coming on, got the toe beautifully.
And there is the race leader, Alain Prost. And he is pulling away from Riccardo Patrese, who has still not come in for tyres, strangely. In third position, back into the races, and that's Patrese being passed by Mansell. Mansell going up into second position. So it is now Prost leading, Mansell second on new tyres, Patrese on old ones. Mansell has closed the gap from 3 seconds to under half a second. This is lap 28.
And he's closer still this time than he was on the previous lap when they hit the straight. So now as the speed picks up, so the benefit of the hole in the air starts to work, and Nigel dips out, and so Mansell takes the lead for the second time, the Brazilian Grand Prix. His tyre stop dropped him back behind Alain Prost. He's fought his way back past, and certainly a most impressive debut for the new Ferrari. Here we see again, and just there you see Mansell's car really start to pick up when it gets close behind the McLaren, and that just, the momentum just carries him past.
Well, Mansell, I better be careful what I say. If Mansell can just keep this car going, it looks to me as though he's got the Brazilian Grand Prix well and truly tied up.
And Gugelmin is certainly applying the pressure, and he's right in the toe there. Pulling alongside on the straight under the bridge, and he's just made it in time for the braking area. And so Johnny Herbert gets bumped down into 5th place, but a mighty creditable 5th place it is so far.
This Brazilian Jacarepaguá circuit, which is on the site of reclaimed land that was previously a swamp, has got a surface like no other Grand Prix circuit in the world. It is tremendously abrasive, and that allied to the extreme heat of over 40 degrees, much more than that on the track, much more than that again in the cockpit, and that's Bernd Schneider. Bernd Schneider, the German driver in the Zach Speed with the Yamaha engine, is out. And that's Eddie Cheever. Oh, it looks from the altercation that's going on as though... Oh dear, I think that must be heat exhaustion, actually. Yeah, I'm sure that was heat exhaustion, the way the tall American slumped to the ground. I'm wondering, though, we didn't see it, I'm wondering whether Schneider and Cheever touched each other from the way they were having either a conversation or an altercation. Probably the same thing in those circumstances. But I think that Eddie Cheever is probably absolutely exhausted, almost totally dehydrated, but he angrily shrugs off the marshals. And we're with Patrese now. Watch him at work and listen to that Renault V10 engine. Now you can see how the driver has to work at that steering wheel. The little gear levers on the right, and there is Nigel Mansell in the pits. He had the steering wheel off for some reason there. What on earth is happening? He's having a new steering wheel fitted, and he's ready to. And he's left the pits in 13 seconds. Well, that's the first time I have seen 5 wheels changed in a pit stop. 4 wheels, 2 at the front and 2 at the back, and the steering wheel. Oh, what a race. McLaren V10 Honda with the great double world champion, 35 times a Grand Prix winner, Alain Prost at the wheel, has lost none of his motivation, being harried every inch of the way by, in his first drive for Ferrari, Nigel Mansell, 13 times a Grand Prix winner. All of them for the Williams team, which he left last year, and he's right on the gearbox of Prost's car now. When they get to the straight, Mansell can slingshot out of Alain Prost McLaren slipstream, which he's doing now at the end of the straight, going into the Curva Sol at 150 miles an hour. It's a 7-speed gearbox, and that's the speed that Mansell will be in. 7th speed. He retakes the lead. An absolute barnstorming race from Nigel Mansell. Let's look at it again. Watch him close up on the gearbox of the McLaren. Bob out from the slipstream as they go into the approach to the left-handed Curva Sol.
Fantastic stuff. And, yes, Patrese just dives inside, all a bit messy, bit fraught, but he got it. And he's having to defend the position. Oh, and he lost coming out there, and I think Patrese ended up with a box full of neutrals then coming out of the corner. Something's broken on the car, maybe a drive shaft or something, because Patrese seems to have just stopped very suddenly.
And Herbert, look for Johnny Herbert now. There he is, Johnny Herbert. This is incredible. Johnny Herbert in his very first Grand Prix in the Benetton DFR 1988 car, notwithstanding the fact that he can hardly walk, he's catching Gugelmin in 3rd place. There he is. Look for the checkered flag. What a fool running across the course. A raving lunatic. But Nigel Mansell has won the Brazilian Grand Prix, the first Grand Prix of 1989, the most exciting one we have seen for years. So there we are at the end of the Brazilian Grand Prix as they go on the run-down lap now. It's Nigel Mansell's magnificent victory for the new 640 John Barnard V12 Ferrari.
Over the weekend we have obviously a lot of problems. Warm-up this morning I only did 1 lap and it was very disappointing. But this afternoon, what can I say except it's the most laps the car has done ever in the history of its life. And I'm very happy that it is reliable when it counts. This afternoon the race is when it counted and it worked very, very well, and I'm very, very happy. But there's still a lot of work to be done for the gearbox, the engine and the car.
Yeah, it's been good for me. Everybody, I think, has been doubting after the accident I had last year that I wouldn't be fit enough and everything else. You know, and the Benetton stuck with me and everything through all the injury I had, and we've come through it and we've proved a point. So it's thanks to Benetton and Peter Collins.